It's showtime, folks. Welcome to It's Always Sunny in Hollywood. I'm your host, Red.
I am another host, Lugia. We're gonna talk
And
about some show business, baby.
yes, and I am host number the third one, Patrick. And I don't know about you guys, but I am ready to paint the town and all that jazz.
Yes. So today we're going to be talking about All That Jazz by Bob Fosse. But before that, so I got a bit of news. So earlier this week, it was trending on Twitter that Pro Jared had passed away. Thing is, this was a joke done by actually one of my friends.
What?
Here's the thing. I'm in this server with so I got like some friends I've made friends with on Twitter, and I'm in the server with some of them. And one of the people in the server basically just decided to tweet out that Bro Jared had died, and it just kind of caught on because
Wasn't that on his birthday too?
the day before his birthday. But the thing is, the day before his birthday was the anniversary of when he posted that video where he was like, I'm innocent. So yeah, a lot of converging things happened. That was just a coincidence. They didn't plan it. They just like finished watching a movie and they were just like, it would be fun if we did this, and yeah. So yeah, Pro Jared is not dead. He is very much alive, but for like a bunch of hours, people thought he was dead via autoerotic asphyxiation.
And I guess in other news, Kirby series and Super Smash Bros. Series creator Masahiro Sakurai from Nintendo now has a YouTube channel where he discusses his insight on the games that he's made and any other little things about game development to teach up and coming video game developers like what this is all about, which I think it's pretty cool. He's not profiting off of it, and he did say he's gonna like lose money as time goes on when he has to hire graphic designers and editors, but he's dedicated. I just
That's
want
cool.
Sakurai to be happy though. Like, this man has gone through so much in his life, and he just does it for the people.
He's been making video games since like literally he could like
Yeah.
I believe he
He
directed the
started at
first Kirby
19.
game when he was like 19.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was in his early 20s.
he's accomplished more than us at our age. God,
But no,
when
I
was
wish
it?
him well. It looks like he's liking what he's doing so far. People are responding very positively towards it. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't watch much YouTube that much nowadays, honestly. Now that I think about it, you guys still watch it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I still watch YouTube. I have a few people I traditionally watch, but most of the time it's just whatever.
I mean, we're literally on the platform.
Yeah, I mean, I
Mhm.
still watch YouTube. It's just like less than I used to. And I still got the old reliables like I still watch some Call Me Johnny like Nitro Red and people like that. But yeah,
Same here.
Yeah.
I always talk about YouTuber movies, but like there are YouTuber video games. I forgot about that. Like everyone's like, oh, there's no good YouTuber movies, but there's some good YouTuber games. Like
Yep.
Super Smash Brothers. No, I'm kidding.
AVGN Adventures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first one, I like the first one. It's a bit flawed, but AVGN Adventures 2 is actually pretty good.
Oh, there's a sequel?
Yeah, they made a sequel to it.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It's a big improvement, honestly. I would recommend like people that don't like AVGN Adventures 1, they might like 2 cuz 2 is like they really improved it. Also, have you played the Mega Man games Patrick?
I've played two.
All right. Are you familiar with Mega Man's brother?
No.
Okay, so in the third game, Mega Man has his brother's introduced, and he like introduces as like a mini boss every once in a while. AVGN Adventures 2 has a similar thing. That mini boss is a nostalgia critic. Nostalgia
Really?
critic just randomly shows up in the game to like fight James.
How does he
Oh.
attack?
I mean, he just kind of like jumps around and shit. He's
I
similar
see.
to
No, so he's literally the Breakman fight.
yeah,
Jump and
basically.
shoot.
I was thinking Toad Man, but okay.
No, Toadman just jumps.
Yeah. No,
Didn't
he's
you
basically.
didn't you say that's what Nostalgia Critic does?
I mean, he still like attacks and stuff, but like,
Yeah, but what is his attack?
I don't remember. I think he uses his gun from the traditional nostalgia critic intro. The
Ah,
shoots the gun, the explosion behind.
gotcha.
You know something that always confuses me about nostalgia critic?
What?
His theme song is like literally just a Queen song, and I'm like, how has he not gotten like copyright struck for that? Because that's a Queen song. The show goes on. It was in Moulin Rouge, like, which is I think the reason he does it. But like, I don't know. I feel like there'd be a copyright issue there. At least with like Pro Jared, he got like the permission, but like Like us, our thing is like royalty free, so like we're allowed to. But
No, we get copyright claimed for it.
oh, we do.
Yeah,
All right. Oh, we don't make money, so whatever.
We do this for funsies.
exactly.
Actually, another thing about royalty free like does mean you have to pay. It's just like it's a one time fee. You don't have to like pay royalties like most people. So technically, we are in copyright violation, but whatever.
Shall we move away from YouTube
Yeah.
business and get into show business?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, let's do it.
All That Jazz is directed by Bob Fosse. It's a semi autobiographical picture about his life. So before this movie, he directed a movie about a comedian called Lenny, which is about Lenny Bruce, and he also was doing his Broadway musical Chicago. So this movie is basically inspired by his effort to edit Lenny while also preparing for the play. So the film won a Palme d'Or, which is the most prestigious award in film at the 1980 Cannes Film Festival, and it was nominated for 9 Oscars, winning 4 for Best Original Score, Best Art Direction, Best Costume Design, and of course, obviously, Best Film Editing. Because the editing is like, to me, was just the most obviously great part about it. Sorry, getting into my opinions, but whatever.
No worries.
2001, All That Jazz was deemed culturally, historically, and aesthetically significant by the Library of Congress, put in the film registry. Yeah, so production. This was actually had a bit of a hectic production because there was a big increase in cost. So Columbia Films basically brought who was their originally financiers. They had to bring in Fox to finish financing the film. So I have not seen this film, but the film structure is often compared to Federico Fellini's Eight and a Half, which is another thinly veiled autobiographical film. So I guess I'm gonna have to watch Eight and a Half. That has actually been on my list for a while. So yeah, that's really it. All I have to say. So, what did you guys think?
All right, just gonna get straight into it. Patrick, I'm curious on what you have to say about this, considering
Yeah, because you're the musical guy.
this is, well, not only is it a musical, this is also one of those surreal films.
All right, I guess if you want me to start, brief thoughts. I thought this movie was excellent. Being a guy who's into theater, it was interesting seeing the process of a show being made from the perspective of a choreographer. And also, not only do I like theater, but I'm also interested in television stuff and editing. So it's interesting to see that side as well with him editing the movie and wanting to get it down to exactly his vision on the side. So really, it's both sides of the entertainment spectrum that I have a great interest in. And this guy's story was really interesting. I thought this movie was great.
Now, I know this isn't our first rodeo when it comes to weird films that we can't really analyze on a first viewing. I mean, we've already done a couple of those in the past, like Blue Velvet, Handmaiden, I think, was one of them. But I would say this is probably the best one of those kind of movies that we've seen so far. I really enjoyed my time with this movie. And it also helps that, like, it's a musical, so there's a lot more energy going on instead of it just being, like, weird for the sake of being weird. Yeah, no, I absolutely enjoyed this.
Well, I guess to start off anywhere, obviously, this is our third time talking about a movie with Roy Scheider in it. He once again brought his A game.
Yeah. This is
Yeah.
probably the best I've seen him in so far.
Yeah, I find it funny how all the movies we talk about Roy Schneider are like kind of like they're right after each other year wise because like Jaws 2, which we talked about last week, that was 1978. This is 1979. So like man, he immediately after Jaws 2, he went into this, brought his A game.
He
And
didn't
also-
have any physical confrontations with the higher ups, did he? For this one?
No, but as you can Bob Fosse might have knowing.
Yeah. Also, damn,
Well-
Roy Scheider can sing.
Yeah.
The end of
No,
this movie, like, damn.
what I found interesting about this movie was like so I mentioned it was, semi autobiographical, and I just thought like I've noticed like a lot of like other biography movies I've seen, like autobiography movies I've seen, they tend to like sugarcoat themselves, make themselves look better. Like Straight Outta Compton and Bohemian Rhapsody, those were produced by surviving members, and they basically had the one part of the group person in the group that died be the one to sort of hold all the blame. I found this one interesting because he was brutal towards himself. Like this was he did not like sugarcoat himself. If anything, like it seems like he made himself like come off way worse than he probably was in real life because like Yeah, he does not. He is very honest with how much of a flawed person he is.
He was an
But he
alcoholic. He was a
doesn't
drug
stop
addict.
though.
He was not faithful to his wife. He was.
Yeah, I'm dying, and I know that having sex in my hospital bed isn't really gonna help, but I want sex
Yeah,
in my hospital bed.
yeah, even on death's door, he is still brutal to himself.
And yeah, I just think that's interesting, like knowing that he made it himself, like about himself, because it's not like most of the other biographies I've seen that are brutal towards people is like done by like a third party years after the fact, after they die or something. But this was like
This was
he was just writing about not only his life but like his recent life because
Yeah, this was the
Yeah.
same. This was the late '70s, and I know
yeah,
Chicago premiered
that was
in the mid
75.
'70s. Yeah,
Yeah, and I saw Lenny. That was a good movie, but like I was also before that was 74. So like this, he only like basically 5 years after this, he was like already fully aware.
have any of his living family commented on this movie?
I'm not sure. Probably. I mean,
Because
it is a
I'd be curious to know what they think. Also, to speak of biopics for a second, I find it funny how one of the first lines in the movie is "To be on the wire is life, the rest is waiting." Philippe Petit. I don't
um
know. I thought that was funny.
yeah. One more thing about biopics is I feel like a lot of biopics just kind of feel like glorified Wikipedia entries, but because this is like very focused on like 1974, like it was entirely just like basically his life in that year. I thought had a much greater focus.
Yeah, again,
Um,
like The Walk, it's pretty much dead set on that one
Yeah.
specific area of his life.
yeah.
And
Um,
also in the '70s, there's so many connections to The Walk. Okay,
yeah.
no.
I mean, hey, this movie influenced a lot of other movies, so who to say that The Walk didn't take notes from this film?
Yeah. I mean, it is one of like the most it did win like literally the most prestigious
Yeah.
awards in film, and Bob Fosse is, considered a legend in the musical spec world.
Meanwhile, The
Um,
Walk was a bomb and it fell into obscurity.
yeah.
It's such an
Um,
underrated movie. See it.
yeah.
Anyway,
Although,
I'm done. I'm done.
yeah, that's another interesting thing because like have you guys ever seen that the producers movie, like the musical one?
I no, I haven't
No.
actually. I haven't even seen the original producers.
Okay. Oh, well, I guess I'll have to add that to the list. But what I found interesting about the musical movie is that it was directed by the person that did the original producer's musical, and the thing is that they didn't really use film as a medium. It just kind of felt like a glorified stage recording, and a lot of people didn't like that. I found interesting here is that Bob Fosse is a musical director, and despite that, he was able to really use like film language to his like advantage. The editing here, this is one of the best edited movies I've seen in my life. Like this
Yeah, the
is
editing here is definitely a
Yeah.
highlight.
Especially
yeah,
during a
like
lot of the musical numbers.
yeah.
Hmm.
Part of me thinks like Edgar Wright must have loved this movie, man. The choreography.
Imagine if Edgar Wright made a musical.
It could happen. You never know.
It could.
Yeah, I mean, wasn't the? I think Last Night in Soho has a musical sequence, so I might have to check that one out. But yeah, the editing, like, no wonder this won Best Editing at the Oscars, because this was something else. I mentioned Bohemian Rhapsody like earlier, like that movie had like terrible editing, but there's this one sequence that was like really good. It was like they definitely drew influence from here.
I
But
also think it's cool how to explain certain aspects of his life, they literally turn it into a performance. For example, when he's in the hospital, there's a stage, there's doctors on it. Drum roll, please. We have 2 artery blockages.
yeah, the last sequence was fascinating too because it was basically like this weird sort of hallucination while he's on death's door.
Yeah, like
Putting
the
on
four
one last
Five
people.
show
state.
before he dies. That was
Yeah,
probably
Yeah,
my favorite part of the
and
whole
he's
movie.
directing it, and he's directing it
Yeah.
himself.
yeah, and he's going through like the 5 stages of grief. If y'all notice that,
Yeah, yeah.
um,
I mean, they
and
do
like
repeat that throughout the entire movie.
Hmm.
yeah, and the Bye Bye Life is like a parody of that song Bye Bye Love.
Yeah, the ending of
Yeah,
this movie, that is probably the most upbeat song about death I've ever heard.
yeah. So like the movie ends with him dying. Now obviously Bob Fosse didn't die. It's still that just like makes it like feel like even a more like brutal like indictment of himself. Like basically because he did die pretty young. So it was almost like a little bit prophetic in a sense. He died at like 60, 87. So he did not, 60 is like a decent age, but it's pretty young. Yeah. Obviously his cinematography was like outstanding. Like Jesus,
Hmm.
the lights and the colors and like the texture, it's like that's something else. definitely like one of the best cinematography I think I've seen. The sets, costumes, choreography, like a man in musical is like really good on the technical aspects, and then like I don't know, from a technical perspective, I'd say like this movie's damn near perfect.
And this came out like what, 40 years ago?
Yeah,
Really,
like even
almost
the
45.
audio, like usually like the one thing in old movies that's like a little bit off is the audio, but even like the audio here was like pretty damn good. Probably the best music biopic I've seen, but one of the best musicals I've seen too. So we talked about Roy Scheider. What do you think of the other performances?
I thought his wife Audrey was also a great standout.
Leland Palmer, I believe that was her actress. You know, she's actually a lot of these actors were like theater actors. They did not have like many other roles. So I thought that was
Actually,
interesting.
yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense considering all the physicality that's involved here.
Yeah.
Also, I was not expecting John Lithgow and Wallace Shawn to appear in this movie.
Who did he play?
John Lithgow was Lucas, and Wallace Shawn was one of the investors, I believe. He only had like one line.
You know, I thought it'd be funny. One of my friends told me this is like the best anti-smoking PSA ever. So now I'm just like imagining them like showing this to kids in school.
Yeah,
Like,
even
don't smoke, kids.
even like one of his doctors has a smoking addiction and coughing problem. He's checking him out. All
During an
right, please
operation,
breathe.
why is that allowed?
Breathe. He's fine. I mean, it was the 70s. This was before
They were allowed
the
to do
war on
that in the
drugs.
70s? I
This
don't believe
this was
you.
this was before the war on drugs. That was
Yes,
the
it was.
80s. It was the 80s. When
Yeah.
Ronald Reagan came in, Nancy Reagan. Just say no.
So now when you watch The Incredibles and Better Call Saul, when they say it's showtime, folks, you'll know what they're referencing.
And Beetlejuice.
You know, it's kind of funny how this is like the second movie I've seen where it was like, oh, The Incredibles referenced this because I mentioned
Die
how Die
Hard
Hard
3.
3,
Yeah.
yeah, which is the most insane connection. You'd never expect Die Hard 3 to have a connection to all that jazz, but you know, whatever. Yeah, I definitely like this is a musical I would definitely show to people that don't like musicals because it really like shows you just how great the art form can be.
hmm
Um,
It's the beauty of musical presented through film.
yes.
The
As you
two
watch a man
mediums.
slowly die and make terrible life choices. Fun for the whole family.
Yeah, maybe not the most traditional musical. If I was gonna put a traditional, I'd like I don't know, maybe Singing in the Rain or like the Umbrellas of Cher. Okay, that's a French film. You'll like that when I show it to you though. But yeah, this was
But yeah, no, the musical numbers were definitely that's where the fun of the movie shines because the rest of the movie is pretty dark by comparison. But when the musical numbers come in, that's when it's more upbeat. And I think it's interesting how for most of the musical numbers, it's more of a skeleton of what's supposed to be a bigger number because they're just in rehearsals. Also, one other thing, Joe gets one bad review for his movie and has to be put on oxygen. You
hell
see
yeah,
Gusteau
just
from
like me for
Ratatouille?
real. Yeah,
Gusteau lost 2 stars and then died shortly after.
yes, that's what happens when you get criticized once.
I don't know if you guys have seen Birdman, but this movie kind of reminded me of that movie, mainly with how it sheds show business in a different light.
Yes, yeah, this actually did remind me a lot of Birdman. Yeah, because that movie was like also very much a destructive thing. It had a very hectic, sort of surreal feel to it. I do think all that jazz is a little bit better. I feel like Birdman doesn't hold up as much on rewatch, but yeah, no, there's definitely a lot of parallels there.
It's an
I
interesting
have
take.
not I have not seen Birdman, but to talk about deconstruction of musical theater and exposing some of the darker aspects, I was reminded of A Chorus Line. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that show,
No.
I
but
have not.
Chorus Line is about a bunch of people auditioning for a musical and they're put in a line and they each tell their individual stories of how they got there and what they dream of doing. And they're slowly
Interesting.
eliminated one by one until there's only a few people left for the final show. It takes place entirely in one setting. Like the stage is literally
Cool.
supposed to be a stage.
And you just go
Like,
from person to person until the line gets smaller and smaller and smaller. Okay.
hmm But they're
Cool.
but they're interesting characters. So it kind of reminds me of that. There is a movie adaptation of A Chorus Line. I have not seen it, but I don't know to compare it to
That
something.
I wonder how
I
they
don't know.
did that. 'Cause that sounds
I don't know.
odd. Yeah.
I don't know either.
Overall, I'd give this a 10 out of 10.
9 out of
What a
10.
shock.
This
Yeah, this is
this was
this is an
great.
easy
Yeah.
this is an easy recommendation for me. Like
Yeah, I feel
thought this
like
was
most
great.
of the I feel like most of the movies I recommend lately have all been movies I consider tens. So guess I'll have to drop a piece of shit because like, what was the last movie I gave that I didn't do a 10? Let's see. Because I consider this a 10. I consider Fargo and A Simple Plan both to be 10s. Good, Bad, and the Ugly, I consider that a 10. In the Mood for Love, that's a 10. Also,
Fooly
Fight Club, that's
Cooly.
a 10. That's a
What about
10, yeah.
Fooly
FL
Cooly's
Seal
a
is a
10?
10.
Okay.
Yeah, Good, Bad, the Ugly is a 10. In the Mood for Love is a 10. Fight Club's also a 10, which I didn't recommend that, but, you know, it was
Jeez,
good.
you're just dropping 10s left and right.
Yeah,
Well, I've got a better
adaptation,
number
that
for you
was...
guys. The number of the day is 69, because the next episode is going to be episode 69.
That it is.
Now, I've struggled to find a fitting movie for this. I went through the deepest corners of my brain, some of the most repressed parts of my memories in my brain.
Okay.
And thank God I'm not going through with that. I was going to do something like movie 43, but
Freddy
no.
got fingered.
Fuck no.
I was expecting Freddy got fingered.
I'm not doing Freddy Got Fingered.
Daddy, do you want some sausages?
So we're not doing that. So interestingly enough, I asked Elias if he had any ideas. So this suggestion more or less comes from him. But the movie for next week is going to be Boogie Nights.
Oh,
Boogie
hell
Nights.
yeah, I love Boogie Nights. That's from PTA, so this is gonna be our second PTA movie.
I have
Oh, yeah.
never heard of this movie before.
You haven't.
The only thing he told me
Here,
about...
let me look it up.
The only thing he told me about it was that it has a porn star as the main role.
Don't show it to your parents. There's so much fucking nudity in here.
But hey, it fits, so...
Boogie Nights.
Yeah. Out of curiosity, have either of you seen Goodfellas?
No.
Yes, I have seen Goodfellas.
All right, great. So, because this is basically PTA's Goodfellas. So, like, Paul Thomas Anderson. So, yeah, this is so different from Punch Drunk Love. Y'all are gonna be so.
Should I watch Goodfellas before watching this?
You don't have to, but it would, you know, be a good point of comparison.
Okay.
Because this is like, this is really similar to Goodfellas. So yeah, cool. Boogie Nights. Oh yeah, love that movie. One of my favorite directors. Yeah. Guess the 10s aren't going to be stopping anytime soon. I don't have an outro. How did the movie
That's
end?
showbiz.
Yeah, that's showbiz.
Curtains close. Applause.
Yeah. Put on the Porky Pig. That's all, folks.
That's all, folks.